Welcome to another edition of the Tyler Werner Show, right here on the YouTube channel, Facebook page. And it appears that Sam Bradford has returned to the Philadelphia Eagles after his brief holdout. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, last time I talked during the Tyler Werner Show, I mean, he should have just kept holding out, really. I mean, now he's back, all right, with the Philadelphia Eagles. And after that holdout, I mean, he's the first bad throw, he's going to get booed. He's here for basically 1 year now. None of this playing for a long-term contract here with the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think is what he originally wanted to do. See, this is what people don't get. All right, this is what all these ESPN analysts, all these, Mike Golick said, oh, you know what, go out and play and, make your money or whatever else and yada yada. All these analysts, all these people who are saying, who are telling Sam Bradford, apparently they don't get it. All right, first of all, it's clear and evident to me that Sam Bradford has wanted to, at this point in his career, he wants to basically play somewhere where for the rest of his career he can be the franchise guy. All right, it's clear and evident to me that if he plays this year, and then they just drafted Carson Wentz. They gave up this pick, that pick, to move up to they moved up to 8, and then they gave this and that up to move from 8 to 2 to draft Carson Wentz, the guy who was supposed to be, like the next Donovan McNabb when Donovan McNabb was drafted back in the day. Carson Wentz is supposed to be the next franchise quarterback. All right, this all happened after Sam Bradford signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. And with Carson Wentz signing that deal, I don't care what anybody says. Carson Wentz is to start for the Eagles in the 2017 season, all right? Maybe not this year, but you draft a guy number 2. All right, maybe he's not starting this year, but 2017 he starts. That's the bottom line. And I don't want to hear any more of this whole thing with, he needs time to get acclimated to the NFL. No, year 2 he better be starting. That's the bottom line. And with Sam Bradford, all right, so he came here to the Philadelphia Eagles. Chip Kelly gets fired. All right, he gets re-signed, new deal here to the Philadelphia Eagles with, and this is back in, free agency. This is before any trade-ups from 13 to 8 or any of that. Sam Bradford gets signed to this, it's like a 2-year deal, which a lot of people, whether it's whisper down the alley syndrome or something, acting like it's a 1-year deal. No, it's a 2-year deal with a chance after the first year to extend it, yada yada. So Sam said, he plays decent, and he earns the, then he earns an extension. The Eagles want to extend him, yada yada. That was the original idea here, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a genius to figure it out. Now that Carson Wentz was drafted, between Sam Bradford's agent and Sam Bradford, all right, we don't want that, because now, essentially, it doesn't really matter what Sam Bradford does next. It doesn't really matter what I do next season. Realistically, the Eagles team's not going to win a Super Bowl. All right. So, yeah, not to mention it's year one here of this regime. It, and not to mention, now, these draft picks that were given up for Carson Wentz. I mean, I know it's important to get the franchise quarterback. I know, I got that. And I hope it, and at the end of the day, if Carson Wentz is the guy, I hope he is, then it'll pay off in the long run, a few years down the road. But in Bradford's case, all right, these are less draft picks to draft, perhaps a wide receiver or a running back to put around me. All right? Sam coming out into this draft, it was one of these things. Maybe the Eagles get Ezekiel Elliott. Cowboys took Ezekiel Elliott, but you know what I mean. Maybe they get a receiver earlier in the draft. More pieces to build around. Now they don't. They didn't really improve anything. So, I mean, they got a couple offensive linemen, which I guess maybe helps a little bit. But other than that, as far as weapons are concerned, they didn't really add anything. And they're going to have to add some of them in the future. But if you're Sam Bradford, all right, basically you're told, basically, you play this year and then you're out of here. Then Carson Wentz is the guy, and I guess Chase Daniel is the backup. It's that simple, people. And Sam Bradford didn't want that. And I don't care what people say. It's kind of, when you're the general manager or whatever, it's kind of, imperative that you stay on the same page with your players. And this whole thing, I mean, again, I feel it's as if the Eagles, they kind of jumped on the Carson Wentz bandwagon. It just kind of came out of nowhere. All right? Where suddenly Carson Wentz, oh man, he might be the next franchise quarterback for whoever takes him. The next big thing in the NFL out of North Dakota State. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on that. But as far as I'm concerned, Sam Bradford had every right to not be happy when, okay, yeah, he wants to stay here with the Eagles. He signed the deal here and figuring, all right, well, I can play this year. I think, do a good job, and essentially I can get my contract extended, prove myself I'm efficient here with the Doug Peterson offense and the new regime, and this can be my place to stay for the, hope, perhaps for the remainder of my career. And that's that. Well, he can't do that if Carson Wentz is drafted number 2 and is basically supposed to start in 2017. Or who knows, maybe sooner. I don't. Chase Daniel stinks it up, and you know what? Maybe we'll bring Carson Wentz out in the middle of the season. And this is if Bradford isn't around, or if, say, Bradford got hurt and Chase Daniel, that whole thing. But now Bradford, okay, he plays here a year after just, a new. Now, bye-bye, Sam. Now Sam's going to go somewhere else, learn a new system, play in a new, with a new team, and more likely, and maybe hope that team wants him to be his franchise guy. I mean, I guess it depends how he plays well this year with this team with no weapons and a running game that's might be depleted. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out with, an aging Darren Sproles. Can only be used in, little dribs and drabs here and there at this point in his career. And Ryan Matthews, who was spotty last year when he was playing, and I guess Kenyon Barner, we'll see how he comes along. But that's pretty much that. In a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what. All right, Sam Bradford's back now. Yeah, he came out of his holdout. He's gonna tough it up or whatever. Like, like people like Golick and whoever else are saying, and
You know what? Enough. Enough.
I just don't. I don't get where this whole thing is come from. Joe Theismann and you people don't get it apparently. And I'm not trying to stick up for Sam Bradford and say he's the quarterback that's going to lead this team to the Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, I really don't know. But nor do I know whether Carson Wentz is going to be the guy or not either. If Carson Wentz turns out to be a bust, or he just doesn't turn out to be a top 10 quarterback in this league like you'd want him to, like he's supposed to be or whatever, then I'm going to look back at something like this and say, all right, Howie Roseman, you screwed this up, buddy. And Jeffrey Lurie better fire him. All right?
You got to open your heart.
Yeah, open your heart and fire him, if that makes any sense. But it's more like opening something else. But anyhow, look, I know it's this whole mentality of Sam Bradford's got to tough it up and whatnot. And, all right, well, okay, he's going to play this year, and okay, after holding it, isn't that going to be a little awkward within the locker room? Not to mention the players on the Eagles team. It's clear and evident that Carson Wentz is going to be the future. And this year, I mean, it's year one for Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator, and I guess Howie Roseman is back at GM or executive president or whatever of football operations, whatever you want to call it. We just, we just boil it down and say GM. I don't know, Jeffrey Lurie wants to define it, but it's year one of this whole thing. That's great. But this year, I mean, it's like players they're playing here with Sam Bradford, and they're kind of knowing that it's like, well, this isn't the guy. And I don't know. I don't know if psychologically that does anything. And I know, Connor Barwin's a good sport, and he's gonna say, on the radio, whichever show he's with, that doesn't matter. That's not gonna bother us, or what. That's not in our thought process and whatnot. But I think to some extent there's that subconscious thought there that Sam Bradford, he's just here for a year, and he just basically wanted to get a trade. And now Sam Bradford, I feel as he should have kept holding out. He should have stood his ground and waited until a team was desperate enough to sign. I mean, the whole thing about money, people, it just goes to show how so many people, I just don't understand, and how these ESPN guys on ESPN and NFL, and how they can just be off on this. Oh, take your $18 million or whatever and play. People, you don't get it. It has nothing to do with money, all right? Because if Sam Bradford sits out, yeah, he pocketed his $11 million guarantee or whatever, but he sits out, and it's not because he wants more money. It's because he wants to play somewhere where he knows he has a chance to play there long term. And now with the Eagles, he doesn't have a chance to play here long term, people. And I don't think you people get it. And I don't remember an edition of the Tyler Werner Show where I said you people that much, but what can I say? It's a bit of an outrage.
It's an outrage.
Thank you, Mr. President. But I don't think it's that hard to see that in some ways this reflects upon the organization a little bit. This reflects upon Howie Roseman a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I look at it as All right, well, you signed Sam Bradford to this pretty healthy paycheck, and basically, all right, this opportunity that you'll get a chance. We can extend you. It's a 2-year deal. We can extend you after the first year. You show us a little more something. The Chip Kelly thing experiment, year 3, whatever, and there were some mixed feelings about it. Maybe we need to see a little more. You show us a little more, and we extend you. And now, all this transpires. They move up. They get Carson Wentz, and it's like that goes against basically any opportunity for Sam Bradford to play here long term. And listen, I don't know. They feel, and we're supposed to trust them on this. They feel that Carson Wentz was worth moving up for. Essentially, that he is the franchise quarterback of the future. That he is kind of like Donovan McNabb years ago when they drafted him, but hopefully he'll be better.
Number 5 will always love you.
Hopefully that he will be better than Donovan McNabb, though, because at the end of the day, we didn't get the Super Bowl ring or multiple Super Bowl rings. I mean, hey, obviously as Eagles fans, want, that just, at least for now, just that one Super Bowl ring that we lack, that Eagles fans lack. But then after that, I mean, obviously, they try to win more than one, of course. You get where I'm going with that. Whether Sam Bradford would be good enough for that or not, I mean, obviously, I kind of went through the schedule already a few weeks ago when it came out, and I said 8-8, and I'm not so sure that's good enough to make the playoffs. I mean, as far as winning the division, it might be right there, it might be close to that, but I don't think the Eagles are going to win the division at the end of the day. I think they'll be right there, but it's not a playoff year for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I said 8-8 at best. I mean, after the draft, I don't know. I might even drop down to 7-9 because they got Carson Wentz. Yeah, he's not going to play, and they didn't really first couple rounds. They didn't add a running back, or they didn't add a receiver or whatever. So they're banking on later round talent to maybe whether it be depth picks or whatever. I don't know, but I'm not. 8-8 at best. I might drop down to 7-9. We'll go through the schedule again later. I mean, it's May 11th. We've got a couple weeks until training camp, and then the preseason comes along. I mean, summer is kind of here in a way. It's in the sports world now that it's May. I mean, we'll wait and see. Sam Bradford, as far as his holdout goes, he made it until he made about a week and a half to voluntary workouts or whatever right now, voluntary OTAs. So, yeah, he didn't really hold out as long as he should. He did, So, at the end of the look, I understood where Sam Bradford was coming from, and his agent probably very well assisting him in it. And now, they're not even going to address this until Friday, apparently, with the media. And it's like, come on. You're going to wait until several days later after ending the holdout. He ended the holdout Monday, and it'll be addressed Friday. It's like, what the heck? That's, several days later. I don't know. I mean, it just looked.
I just think somebody owes us an explanation, that's all.
Exactly right. And to hold off on the explanation till Friday, come on. You held out, and then you're going to wait until Friday, but whatever. I guess, we'll be patient for that, and I don't know. Again, now Sam had he held out, maybe gotten traded somewhere else or whatever, or just sat out and not played, made his statement, whatever, Chase Daniel goes out there and starts, and the Eagles probably win 6 games, if that. And yeah, and then Sam Bradford goes somewhere else. I don't know. But Sam Bradford, at the end of the day, he bit the bullet, and now he's back for the Philadelphia Eagles, as it's been worded, and for the year, all right, for the season, and then basically, bye Sam. Carson Wentz is now the star. Now he sat on the bench for a year, holding the clipboard, as the old cliche goes, and now it's kind of on to our franchise quarterback, Carson Wentz, who hopefully will be quote-unquote the guy. That's pretty much that in a nutshell for now. So, we got NBA and NHL playoff action. Well, we're in the midst of it right now. Things definitely heating up. Although, it's one of these things where, do the NBA conference finals even have to really take place? I mean, I don't know. At least especially with the Cavaliers. I mean, do the Cavaliers even have to play this next series? I mean, I don't know, maybe skip right to the finals. Golden State Warriors versus the... No, but I mean, seriously. I mean, the Cavaliers, LeBron James... in the pretty much. I mean, is there anybody out there that thinks that the Cavaliers are going to lose to, whoever they're going to play? Whether it be the Heat or whoever in the Eastern Conference Finals.
No.
Anybody have? And same with the Warriors. I mean, the Spurs, as always, they're a pretty good team, but I mean, the Warriors, without Steph Curry, have been playing pretty sharp even still. I mean, they lost one in the first round. But I mean, it is what it is. They still win the series 4-1 anyhow. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the Warriors, they're still the odds-on favorite, really. But, I mean, between the Heat and the Raptors, Game 5, anybody think that they're either of those teams are going to be the Cavaliers? No. So, not to mention the Thunder last night, actually beat the San Antonio Spurs. And actually the Thunder now lead the Spurs to begin with. So you got the Thunder leading the Spurs 3-2. And yeah, I mean, pretty much the Cavaliers just await in the Eastern Conference. And as far as the Warriors are concerned, I mean, look at that. Game 4, 132-125 in overtime. That series 3-1, with the Warriors a chance to wrap it up tonight against the Trailblazers. So, it's one of these things. I mean, and when Steph Curry comes back too, I mean, them versus the Cavaliers. See, LeBron, he's not having to do it all himself now. So it's rather interesting. Maybe if there's anybody that has a chance at maybe beating the Warriors in a 7-game series, it's them. But I still, Steph Curry back, I wouldn't quite put my money on it. And then you go over the NHL playoffs, and ladies and gentlemen, the Pittsburgh Penguins last night ended in overtime against the Capitals 4-2. This Washington Capitals team that was far and away, the best team, that was far and away better than this Flyers team. Even though the Flyers, a couple games, they put up a couple low-scoring efforts, and Michael Neuvert was shutting it down in goal. Still, I mean, it was still a litmus test of a series to show Capitals were the cream of the crop. But the Penguins down the stretch in the regular season were very hot, and they beat this Capitals team 4-2 in a series. Not 4-3, 4-2. Still a fairly convincing series win over this Washington Capitals team that was had by far the best record in the NHL by a pretty wide margin. Of course, the Tampa Bay Lightning over the New York Islanders, they wrapped up their series pretty quickly, 4-1 actually. And I remember when the Flyers started turning the corner to their season in early to mid-March, whenever it was, and seeing the Flyers beat the Tampa Bay Lightning at the Wells Fargo Center live, and then a few days later they beat them again. Well, and here the Tampa Bay Lightning, they find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pittsburgh Penguins. What do you know? Over in the Western Conference in the NHL, of course, though, we got two series that are going to come down to Game 7s. The other night, these two Stars and Blues playing to a 3-2 Game 6. Stars tying it up 3-3 in the series. And the Predators beating the Sharks 4-3 in overtime in Game 6 to tie it at 3-3. How about that? Game 7 with the Blues and the Stars tonight. And tomorrow night, the Predators and the Sharks. Two 7-game series over in the Western Conference. So, rather interesting playoff series over there. And, for a change, it's not going to be the Chicago Blackhawks or the Los Angeles Kings this year in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Stars, the Blues, the Predators, the Sharks, the Sharks are normally in the playoffs every year, it seems, but got some new teams that can maybe rise up here in the Western Conference and represent the West in the NHL playoffs this year. So, interesting stuff there. And then, of course, the Phillies, ladies and gentlemen, right now they find themselves at 19-14 record, third in the National League East, but actually fourth in the National League. The National League East is the superior division right now, but coming off of 3 straight wins, ladies and gentlemen, getting the 3-2 win yesterday, and while they're typically not the best hitting team in the league, they have some, obviously, pitching wise, some bright spots to look for, in this future going forward here. So I don't know. We'll continue to see how this Phillies team plays out, but certainly so far, as we're getting into the summer territory, they're certainly kind of holding their own here, and not. They're 5 games above 500. Who would have thunk it? I don't know. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap things up for now on the Tyler Werner Show. Again, we'll listen and see what Sam Bradford / his agent has to say about this holdout on Friday, I guess, and we'll see what else may transpire within the Eagles organization coming up, and see what transpires in the NHL and in NBA playoffs, as always during this time of the year, and Phillies baseball. Thanks for tuning in to the Tyler Werner Show. Again, the Facebook page is facebook.com/Tyler Werner Show. Pretty straightforward, as always. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time on the Tyler Werner Show.
Hi there, I'm Hank Hill. Well, I'd like to tell you what Strickland can do to meet your energy needs. You see, at Strickland, the customer comes first. It's kind of interesting. The word customer begins with CU. Well, we don't see you as just another sale, but as a member of our team. I thought you might enjoy 7.5 gallons of pure premium propane. Strickland Propane, the customer comes first.
What is it about good sex that makes me have to crap? Guess it's doing? Pump and dump.
Pump and dump. Never stop the pumping. Always keep her satisfied. Pump and dump.
You really jarred something loose, Tiger.
#1 box office attraction, #1 WWE superstar, multi-time WWE champion, Brock Lesnar.
Time to revamp your office space, eh? Looking for an interior decorator? Look no further than Brock Lesnar.
Now that's the way a real man uses a sledgehammer.
Out with the old, in with the new. Give Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman a call.
Mr. Lesnar, you're in the future of interior decorator. I think we're done.